Oh, we back. Back from intermission.
Alright, cool. So,
Let's get started.
Yeah, I think the next thing we'll do is just kind of let you guys make the final comments about your people, and we'll discuss bonds, because we are living in a world where you guys know each other already. I don't like that awkward beginning where you guys have never met. I like to begin where you just like, maybe you don't trust each other, maybe you don't know each other super well, but you definitely worked together in the past and are at least working together now. So you know each other's names. Like I said, you may not know each other great, but you know each other decently. So who wants to start with their bonds? Actually, we'll start with Year. Discuss his bonds if he doesn't mind, since I'm already on the fighter page. So are
we able to make up our own bonds, or like?
If it's interesting and I approve, yeah, totally, yeah, definitely, without a doubt. So if you have the fighter page in front of you there, Mr. Year, the first one is blank owes me their life, whether they admit it or not. Who do you choose for that? And make sure you guys, you can just like write these down in order so you know where they go, but I'm not going to write the whole thing down.
Joran owes me his life.
Okay.
He pissed off a particularly nasty bit of people with his curmudgeonliness, and I saved him.
Okay, cool.
So when we resolve a bond, either by it can't be completed or by both parties agree that their relationship has moved on past that point, is that how we're doing it, or how do you do it?
Yes. Yeah, as soon as it's resolved, and if that is, like, I don't know, for instance, for this one, if in some aspect of the game you end up saving Year's life, that would be, I would consider that resolved, because it's kind of like currently you owe him your life, and you've debt paid it. You've returned his life. You've helped him out. So that's how I would consider it resolved. I know certain ones are a bit more interesting. I mean, even for the next one, like, I've sworn to protect blank. If he's sworn to protect you, and maybe at some point you do something so bad to him that he decides I don't want to protect him, I consider that resolved. It no longer is a referable bond. So, and at that point you can either just change it to I swear to protect somebody else, or you can just come up with your own bond. I hope as we resolve bonds, you guys will start to get into the game and think of some interesting things to add yourselves, to give yourself some extra XP at the end of sessions. So yeah, so the first one was that, god damn, I keep forgetting your freaking name, Dave. You're killing me. Joran owes Year his life, whether he admits it or not. Cool. So, yeah, so the next one, you've sworn to protect blank.
Well, there's only 3 of us, so we'll just say I've sworn to protect Joran, mostly because he assured me that there would be hot meals in it.
Okay.
You know, like,
cool.
So what, am I your employer then?
Not so much an employer. Basically, I imagine how we initially met is you had perturbed some nefarious individuals, and I am more nefarious, and I helped you out of that jam, which is why you owe me your life. And then after that, I saw your coin purse, and I saw that you were actually eating quite well, and I was not, and so a transaction occurred, and we've been together since then.
Cool. Awesome, I like that. As a small side note, you don't have to use all the bonds, so if you choose, you can just use one more, or you can use both the remaining 2. So the final one, though, was I worry about the ability of blank to survive in the dungeon. So who would you be worrying about?
I'm not worried about Joran, so it'd have to be Rook.
Alright, cool. Why do you worry about Rook as the ranger to survive in the dungeon?
Because I'm not sworn to protect her.
Okay, alright. Cool, I like it. And then blank is soft, but I will make them hard like me.
I want to use it. You are an elf, aren't you?
Yeah. Yes.
then that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, it does.
So it's going to be a Rook. And you're not, it's not that you're actually soft, but you are an elf. And so you are soft.
Of course. Awesome. So we'll move on to you, Rook, for your bonds. Make sure like I said, you write these down because I'm not writing all of them down. These are more, I'll use them occasionally, but these are more important in the sense that you guys try to resolve them because it's for the reason of getting more XP and making the game more interesting. So that's why I want you guys to make sure you write them down and remember them. So you have guided blank before, and they owe you for it.
I'm gonna say ear.
Okay.
So, write this down.
Alright, so you have used your elven abilities and your ranger abilities to track and find your way through the wilderness, and you have helped to guide ear. Blank is a friend of nature, so I will be their friend as well. You're not allowed to be indecisive, Mary.
No, I know, because I was thinking that I was just going to use 2.
Okay.
Because,
if you want to stop me and move on to the other one you want to use, that's totally okay.
Yeah, I was just going to use the last one.
Blank does not understand life in the wild, so I will teach them?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jorn does not understand the life in the wild, because he's an old man. He doesn't know shit about living in the wild. And the final one, the wizard, Mr. Joran. Your bonds. Did you want to use all 3, or did you want to use just one or 2?
So I got some custom ones here. And they're in response to Year's bonds.
Okay.
I have Year saved me. I need to return the favor.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Make it so they break even.
Yep. I have another one here. Year is my protector. He underestimates me. This should change.
Okay, cool. I like that one a lot.
Awesome. And then I have Rook is woefully misinformed about the world. I will teach them all that I can.
All right, cool. The 97-year-old sage will teach her the ways.
Well, it's mostly just because our alignments meet up, and I can see that for the most part. So
okay,
I'm sort of forcefully taking her under my wing.
Cool. Alrighty then. I suppose we should jump right into it, unless you guys have anything else you want to tell me about your characters or let the viewers know. That's totally up to you guys. So I'll kind of open the floor to you guys for a moment, and if nobody's got anything, we'll move on. Cool. Everybody's good. Awesome. So you guys are living in the world of Ferron. Ferron is, it's your general fantasy world. We're living in a, actually, according to the map, I'm not sure if the viewers can see it. Basically, it's a hex map. You're living in kind of a section of the known world, but you know this section of the world especially well. Each hex is a 2-day journey, so that is an interesting fact for you guys to keep in mind when choosing to travel places. But you live in a relatively mountainous area. As I said, as a DM, I like to build or I might have just said this before the stream, so I'll repeat it. I like to build the world with you guys. So I like that if you were to tell me where you grew up, you could say it was a mountain, and you could say it was in the bottom right hand of the map where there's nothing currently at, and we can go with the flow. I'll be like, you know what? All right, that town is now there. It's now a mountainous area. Tell me the name of it, and I'll make up the rest. But you know what I mean? So I like to let the world grow as we grow as players and a DM. So more importantly, you just have to know that the world is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Temperate. So it's a mountainous area, but it's relatively temperate. There's random forests around, there are mountains around, there are plains around. There's no swamps specifically. So it's a very, it's an average world. It's America and some other dimension. I don't know, So, like I said, I like to build, though, as we play. More importantly, though, I've kind of dubbed this campaign Rise of the Crypt Maker. Basically, 140 years ago, there was a war known as the Necromancer War. It lasted about 17 years, and it just about wiped out this area. As I said, it's 140 years later, so the area has kind of settled back down, and the only true remaining area where it's kind of solemn and dead is up in the top left corner of the map, where the Cryptmaker Citadel remains. So to kind of give you guys an idea, as I said, I like to make things up as I go, so I have a very general idea here for us. So to let you guys know, essentially what happened was when the war ended, it was ended during a great battle. And during this great battle, some of the greatest warriors and fighters of our time, along with one of the greatest, if not the greatest, wizard of the time, went to attack the Cryptmaker. And he was essentially the world's most just naughty necromancer. He was a bad dude.
Naughty.
And yeah, he was naughty, man. Like, he was just a bad guy. He was just out to rule the world and destroy everything in his path and see things burn. That was it.
You made him sound like a whole other kind of bone dancer there for a second.
Yeah. So I won't use the word naughty anymore. I was trying to be funny and you just turned it, man. So basically the way things went down was there was this great battle. These great warriors, these great fighters, and this extremely wise and extremely martyrous, if that's a word, but it is now, I don't care if it isn't, wizard, they went after the Cryptmaker. And they got into this very intense battle with the Cryptmaker. It was basically, the whole plan was that this wizard was channeling a spell that would turn himself into an encapturing crystal and would imprison the Cryptmaker, and therefore relinquishing his hold on the world and reducing or eliminating, essentially, not destroying the Cryptmaker, but eliminating his ability to unleash his wrath upon the world. So during this channeling process, it was up to the fighters and the great warriors to try and stop him, and it was a buzzer-beating moment. Literally, as the Cryptmaker slayed the final warrior and reached out to destroy the wizard's spell was cast, and he was transformed, essentially in a great flash of light, into a crystal, which then imprisoned the Cryptmaker. The Cryptmaker had 3 acolytes at the time, also necromancers, all of which who were sorcerers of their time, but were transformed by the evil and the chaos of the Cryptmaker, and they were given special powers by the Cryptmaker. When the Cryptmaker was captured, essentially what happened was there was a massive blast of energy. The Cryptmaker was not destroyed, but his powers were relinquished into the ether of the world. And it killed most of the people that were involved in this great war, because there was just a massive battle going on all at the same time. And what essentially happened was that this blast killed most of those people, and the rest of them were actually frozen in time, and they haven't moved since. They haven't been touched, they haven't been bothered. There are orcs and goblins and elves and dwarves and humans all alike frozen in time. Not densely, but they're sparsely populated in that peninsula where the Cryptmaker Citadel is. The other thing, as I said, is that these 3 acolytes of the Cryptmaker, these 3 necromancers, were revoked their abilities, revoked their powers, because the Cryptmaker, he kept a tight hold on his acolytes. So they retained some of their powers, but basically they only really retained the evilness that came from being part of the Cryptmaker's army, and they retained their previous sorcerer abilities. So that's kind of the way it went down. The fringes of the explosion essentially kind of battled to an end. The world of the good won, and the world of the evil was not beaten, but it was essentially stunned for 140 years. The sad part about the battle is, because so many people were destroyed in this massive blast, was that the necromancers, the 3 acolytes, were able to escape. And as I said, they retained some powers, and word has actually reached the realm that their powers have been growing over the past few years. The crystal was removed from the battle, and it was taken to Honaldor, which is a dwarven city up in the north, and it was stored in there because it is known to be one of the most fortified cities in the realm. So that is where the crystal with the Cryptmaker is stored. His powers are locked in that crystal, and he is locked in Honaldor. And you guys find yourselves in a situation where you've actually been summoned to Orelon, a great city in the center of the map there. And in Orelon, they want adventurers to show up because they want to find a way to destroy these necromancers, these 3 remaining acolytes that, as I said, word has reached the realm that they are starting to kind of regain their grasp on some of the areas. Areas that you don't really know at the moment. Like I said, we're going to build this map as we go along. And they're starting to kind of inch back into the world and kind of take footholds. And the realm is essentially afraid of them getting a hold of the crystal in some way, shape, or form, or creating their own armies and starting a war all over again and releasing the Cryptmaker upon the realm. So you guys have found yourselves in Orelon, as I said, and you're pretty much adventurers looking to make money, looking to go out and make your way. It doesn't have to be for good reasons, as one of you guys is chaotic, one of you guys is evil, and the other one is neutral. So your reasons are totally up to you, but you're out in the world trying to obviously make your way, and you've heard that they want people to come and help destroy the necromancers. On the other hand, Orelon is also plagued by a Goblin King because it is built upon its own ruins, in a relatively hilly and semi-mountainous area that we will sort of adjust on the map as we go. And yeah, the Goblin King reigns supreme essentially in the city under the city. And occasionally they release raids via the sewers on Orelon. And yeah, that's kind of the world you're in. That's sort of what's happening. So you guys are traveling on the road from wherever. It's totally up to you guys if you want to come up with something or if you just want to kind of hop right into it and arrive in Orelon.
It's up to you guys. I'm happy either way. My vote is for arriving in Orelon straight away.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest to just kind of hop right into it. So, yeah, you guys get in Orelon, and you start to learn about, as I said, this Goblin King. There's definitely, it's one of the biggest rumors. It's the rumor that I'll flat out tell you. And as a small side note, as a DM, one thing I like to do is not send you guys in a direction. I don't like to go, some guy walks up to you and asks you to save his dog, and that's the next quest you take. I want to tell you guys about problems in the world, a general larger problem, things like that, and let you guys choose what you want to do. So, so yeah, that's as a small side note as me as a DM. So you're in Orelon. Let's just kind of see, what's a day in the life of you guys? What do you guys do on a general day? You guys stay in nicer inns, a moderate inn. You guys go to the shanty towns. What kind of lifestyle do you guys live?
Well, quite a poor one apparently, because I have very little money.
I did forget to say that everybody gets an extra 5 gold. So, or coin is the way it works in this. So everybody has 5. Mr. Year, you are the only one with 27, correct?
I didn't even know I started with 5, so yeah, 27.
Yeah, because you chose the 22. So I just like to give everybody a little coin just to kind of because the way we do it in this game is not you go to an inn and the meal is 1 coin. So that it's not really how I run it. Coin is a bit a larger scale payment. And you kind of just buy the things that are truly necessary. So
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not looking for you guys to spend money, but you have 5 coin, which is average lifestyle pay. So what's a day in the life with you guys?
Well, normally Joran is incredibly old, and whenever he gets a chance, he will find a feather bed and he will lay down in that sucker, and he will kick off his boots and he'll be like, I feel so much better.
That is such a perfect voice. Awesome. So Joran just likes to relax. He obviously spends his morning studying his spell book. What about you, Rook? What's an average day? What do you, as a ranger, as a chaotic ranger, what do you do? Do you run around causing mischief, or what?
I'll be an early riser in the morning, kind of just to see what's going on. More of, I guess, trying to see, people's motives, in, where we are, I guess. Whether it be making deals with, people, in like I guess, would it be a city or a town?
Yeah, you're living in a city, or you're in a city currently. Basically, the way this game works is the way I run it is that there are villages, there are towns, and there are cities. The cities are like 1,000 to like 5,000 people. 500 to, or like 200 to 1,000 is a town, and villages are pretty much under like 200 or 300, so they're very small. And then there's keeps, of course, which are just forts essentially.
Yeah, your camera went down, man. Yeah, it's back now.
Yeah, I just turned it back on. Sorry, that was weird.
No worries.
But yeah, so you're just like, you don't really do anything with your day. Just kind of like shuffle around looking for rumors.
Me and Ghost, we go out on morning walks around the town.
Okay.
Yeah, like, either that be
chaotic
hunting,
ranger, like
yeah, whether that be hunting or just kind of just fucking with people, doesn't matter.
Okay,
kind of
cool.
goes day by day.
All right, cool. What about you, Yer? What's an average day in the life of the tall-ass dwarf?
The average day in the life for me is, I suppose it depends on how long I've been in a place. I used to be a professional brawler. Obviously, I'm talented in that area. I spend most of my days going from shady establishment to shady establishment, trying to rustle up coin, probably through various forms of physical contests.
Are you a hustler?
Betting. No, I don't hustle. I don't need to hustle. Hustling is for weaklings. I win.
All right. I like it. Cool. So you go out looking for like arm wrestling and, like the little brawlers in the alleyways, that kind of thing.
Wrestling, that sort of thing, yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. So a few things you guys should know about Orlan is that it has an oath with Beechmarsh Keep, which is to the right, and Horder, which is further to the right and further to the east, I should be saying, along the mountains. Horder is essentially a mining town. It is a town, in fact, though, so it's well established. And Beechmarsh is a pretty established keep as well. It's definitely well known for a safe haven for brigands, so it's a very lawless area. Orlan, as I said, is an ancient city, so it is built upon the ruins of its old self, which was destroyed during the siege of the Cryptmaker, which was his big push up to the mountain range, and is kind of where his final fight was halted after he hit the mountain range. So the city is also ruled by a single individual. His name is Omar, King Omar. I haven't decided on a last name. We'll decide on it as we get there. And the political power, super original. It's called the Legion. So, and as I said, there is a blight in this town, and it is well known that there's a Goblin King underneath the city, living in the city under the city, the ruins, who loves to send raids, just midnight raids that leave the sewers or leave out through the river and they come in through the gates, that type of thing. So it's very, it's not a bad city at all. It's actually a pretty solid city. It's well established, but they just definitely have their problems, like any other city out there. So you guys have been, as I said, informed that they are trying to take care of the necromancers who they fear are seeking out to try and reestablish the rule of the Cryptmaker. Omar has kind of headwayed this, whatever you want to call this quest, this goal to try and find adventurers who are out to save the world or just want to make some coin. So you guys, what do you guys do to? I mean, it's well known that like Omar lives in the palace in the center of the city. So like, do you guys head there? What do you do to get in touch with Omar to try and discuss this, this quest you may take or this coin you're looking for?
Well, I guess for the most part, I think John would show up unannounced, just sort of waltz in.
Okay.
You just
as I said, you guys are together, so this is where I've kind of been explaining the world a lot and sort of trying to set up a decent picture for you guys. Right. So this is where I want you guys to start jumping on in. Start
But
telling me what you do.
if you guys want to do another way, that's perfectly fine too. Joran is a pretty straightforward old man. He doesn't have time to sort of hang around and think about things too much. Yeah, so...
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Although I'm wary of the place, as I'm pretty certain I've broken the arms of at least a quarter of the city's guards at this point.
Okay, cool. What about you, Rook? Are you okay with this idea?
Yeah, I'm gonna join them all.
All right, cool. So you guys waltz up to the palace one day. You're greeted by an array of guards. As I said, it's an established city, so there's a solid 8 guards, all wearing the same 3/4 plate mail, the red cape of the Legion, with the gold fringes, and they're standing in front of the massive quad doors of the palace. And you stroll on up. One of the gentlemen, seemingly taking charge, says, "What's your business?"
We're here to see, what's his name? Fucking, I forget him. He's the guy that sits in the tower.
Were you speaking of Omar, sir?
Ah, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
And you're here for what, may I ask?
Oh, he wanted adventurers, obviously. We're coming in to talk to him about it being an adventurer and stuff.
I like as he says that, I was like, get out of the way, and I'm like hitting his shins with the staff as I.
He kind of like reaches out and like puts his like hand on like your forehead and like slowly pushes you away, and he's like, "A man of your age is willing to go on adventures."
What are you insinuating? Of course, I've been on more adventures than you've had lifetimes.
I'm sure you have. Says, and you two, you're with this man?
Yep, we're his company.
I nod. I'm trying not to draw attention to myself here.
Okay, cool. With your massive gauntlets, your massive.
Yeah, I'm just trying not to
recognize your fallen.
I mean, I'm impossible to mistake, but.
Yeah. You even catch one of the guards at the far end kind of peering at you with like not like a death stare, but like definitely like I want revenge on this guy.
I
You wink at him?
Yeah, I wink at him.
Blow a kiss at him.
He gives like
a smile, my toothless grin.
He gives like a sturdy like slam against his shield with his spear and like draws back to attention, and stiffens up even more. So the guard that was originally speaking to you guys says, all right, old timer, how about you take a walk in there and see about your adventures? And he steps aside and.
That's exactly what I was gonna do. I would have been in there by now if it wasn't for you. Jeez, you gonna carry me now? Like, I've wasted my time.
And I walk in, just in a huff and puff,
Okay, yeah, and the guy shakes his head. One of the other guards runs up to the door and swings it open and allows you to walk in, closes it behind you guys.
And okay, yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, what are you gonna do?
I was just as I walk past Miss Mumbling, like,
the managers of these youngins, no respect for the old people. I don't know what I've been doing all this shit.
Right.
You literally hear the slam, like the clink of metal against metal as he face palms.
Yeah.
So you guys walk into this massive palace, and as I said, Orleans a pretty well-established city. It was one of the first cities to be rebuilt after the Great War. After the whatever the hell I call it, the Great War. It's a giant one. And so you're greeted by this massive palace. It's very stereotypical palace. It has 4 columns on each side, so 8 total. There's an audience of nobles that just kind of watch the daily events because that's all they do with their freaking lives. And there's a mass of people up front, and they're all. You kind of are greeted by this one gentleman who's going on and on about the loss of his sheep, and he's complaining about wolves, and what are you gonna do about it? Like it's very just like he's just droning on about his herd.